Hey guys, this is Professor Egox. I know we have a few more minutes, um, so I will set up everything until we start. I have a quick question. If you guys would check your StatCrunch, if it's working for you, that would be fantastic. I'm trying to start working with StatCrunch, but it's not working on my end. So if you would be kind and then log into StackCrunch and then try to do anything with StackCrunch and then let me know if it's working for you. Hopefully it's gonna work, but I'm kind of hesitant. I don't know what is going on. Yeah. Alicia, so you are the only one so far who said that your StackCrunch is working. Would you mind telling me or telling us which how did you get StackCrunch working? I started using Explorer and it's not working, and I used Chrome and it's not working. What are you using? So yours is working. Your StackCrunch is working. Or Danielle, you are the other one who says that your StackCrunch is working. Are you guys using Firefox? I mean, I can try Firefox as well. Maybe that's gonna work. Hopefully. What I have been seeing so far this term, and I had a few conversations with my MATLAB Pearson, and it seems to me that Firefox is the one that like Pearson the most. So I'm gonna try Firefox. Hopefully it's gonna work. So I hope everybody is doing well. This is going to be a statistics final exam review. Hopefully you guys have received my practice final exam. I think not all of you are my student. So this is a practice exam that I am using. I'm not saying this is the best practice exam ever, but I think it's going to be a pretty good tool to make sure that you're going to be prepared for the final. I'm going to record this session so other students are going to be able to take advantage of this. So as right now I'm logging into StackCrunch. Pray with me, please, that is going to work so I can show you a few tricks. If StackCrunch is not gonna work, then we're gonna be in trouble. But hopefully it will. So I'm going to record the session. If you take a look at the screen on the right side, that should be a chat box. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. What I will do is, once everything is set up, I will let you ask questions from that practice exam, and I will keep monitoring my chat box so I can see your comments. And I will share my screen so you guys will be able to see what I'm seeing. So I logged into StackCrunch and I'm trying to open StackCrunch and it's not working. What is going on? Somebody please tell me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and then share my screen. So this is what I am seeing. And as we speak, I need to record as well. Here you go. So hi guys, this is Professor Egox. As I said a few minutes before, that this session is going to be recorded, and we're going to talk about the final exam that you guys need to take in a few days. So the practice final exam that I use has 50 plus questions, but um, the actual test has only 15. Now the first 10 will be multiple choice. You're gonna have, if I am not mistaken, 5 options. And what I'm always suggesting to students, please make sure that you pick an answer. So even if you're not sure, still pick something. Do not leave it blank. And the other 5 will be show your work. Now you need to know that the show your work is going to be total of 50% of that grade. I don't know I can hear somebody's noise on the background. So if you would make sure that your speaker is off, so if you could turn off your speaker, that would be fantastic. Or if I, let me, just 1 second. So I had to take away the screen so I can make sure that everybody is off. So please make sure that your uh-huh. Okay, very good. Okay, here you go. So actually what we're working on is, I'm trying to make sure that we're going to have a stack crunch that is working. And it seems to me that no matter where I go, it doesn't matter actually that I'm going to Firefox or I go to Explorer, my stack crunch is not working. But still though, I think I can give you some idea how to solve those questions on that practice exam. I'm sorry about that. When you use technology, something goes wrong, right? Here you go. So we try Explorer as well. Okay, anyhow. Um, so as I mentioned it before, if you have questions on that practice exam that you would like me to explain, I would really, really appreciate you would tell me some numbers on that practice exam. So as I have said, or I was trying to say, there are 10 questions, 10 multiple choice questions on the practice exam. Those are going to worth 5 points, and there are going to be 5 show your work questions, and they are going to be 10 points each. So 50 points will come from the multiple choice and another 50 from the show your work. So please take your time and then check all the show your work questions on that practice exam, because they are going to be 50% of your grade. So it's going to be a huge percentage of your grade. Is there any questions that you guys would like to ask? Um, um, from the practice exam. Now, when I shared this session with my colleagues, I did show them or I did send them the practice exam. So if you don't have the copy of the practice exam, then your instructor should have a copy of this. So what I would suggest you to do is, I don't know if I can share it. Uh, let me try if I could share application. Hmm. I think I can share a file. So maybe I can share the I don't know. Let's give it a try. I've never tried it before, but maybe I can. No, computer. It should be on this one. Stats, tests, practice tests, and the key. Now, I was trying to share this practice exam with you guys, so hopefully it worked. Okay. Hopefully you guys got the practice final exam. So let me just see. Okay, so there are a few questions and I need to answer these. So the first question was that primarily, what do you guys need to focus on? So the only thing that I can tell you that chapter 1 is not on the final exam, so do not worry about chapter 1. However, though, the other chapters, starting with 2 until 10, could be on the final exam. Anything that's on that practice exam could be on the final exam. If you don't see something on that practice final, don't worry about it. It's not gonna be on the final. So pretty much whatever it's on that practice final should really, really prepare you well on the actual final exam. The other question was if I could go through question 1. Um, And then sure, absolutely. So let me show you what is happening with chapter 1. So what's happening is there is a data set that was given. So you have 34 numbers. And then what we need to do is we have to construct a frequency distribution table for 8 classes. We have to give the class width, and also we have to give the whole frequency distribution table. So let me try to um, take the take my pen and start showing a few tricks around. So what I need you to do is, this is what I would do. I would take my time and I would copy all these numbers that you had into StackCrunch. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to find the lowest and then the highest number, and you're going to find the difference in between those two. So if I am not mistaken, and then help me please, I think the highest is going to be 62 and the lowest is going to be 27. So if I am not seeing the correct numbers, just let me know. So I'm thinking that 62 is the highest and 27 is the lowest. So what I will do is I will find the difference, which is 62 minus 27. And I'm going to divide this by, now this is a common mistake that students are not dividing by the number of classes. So you're going to find what is going to be the number of classes. And the number of classes are going to be 8 because that was given. So you're going to divide by 8. And then you're going to grab the calculator, and it's really, really important that you're going to round up. So once you round up, you will end up with 5. After this, we're going to find the lower class limits of each class. The first one is going to be 27, which is the lowest number. And then now you're going to start adding 5 to the 27. So if I add 5 to the 27, and I'm adding 5 because that was my class width, then I will get 32. Here's another common mistake. Sometimes students are adding or placing the 32 next to the 27. However, though, it's going to go below. So when you're adding the 5 to the lower class limit, you're going to go, oh, you cannot see my screen. Hold on, let me try to share my screen. I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Do you guys see my screen now? Hopefully, yes. Okay, great. And maybe I need to go back, huh? Let me just recall real quick what I was doing. So what I said is that you have to take all these numbers, and then once you have all these numbers, you're going to go ahead and then take these numbers and then enter it into StackCrunch. And then find the highest, which is 62, find the lowest, which is 27, and you're going to use this formula to find the class width. Highest minus the lowest divide by the number of classes. Highest is, as we said, 62. Lowest is, as we said, 27. And we're going to divide by number of classes. Now, common mistake that students are not using this number of classes to divide. But don't forget, they said we have 8 classes that we're going to deal with, so I'm going to divide by 8. Now, don't forget to round up. I know this is not necessarily logical, like in algebra. However, though, when we're finding the class width, we always need to round up. So once I do that, I will get class width as 5. Now, the first number that we're going to use to find the lower and upper class limits, the first number is going to be the lowest number, and that is going to be placed in the first class, and that is going to be your lower limit of the first class. And I use the class width, which is 5, and then add it to 27. You're going to get 32. This 32 will go below the 27. So it's going to be the next lower limit. And you're going to keep going down, keep adding 5. Now you will have all the lower limits. Now how am I going to find the upper limits? Finding the upper limit is fairly easy. You're just going to go to the next lower limit and then find out what is one smaller than that one was. So what I mean is the second class starting with 32. What is one lower? 31. And then keep going. The third class starting with 37. What is one lower? 36. And then keep going. And so the last upper limit could be calculated two ways. Either you're going to add 5 to the one to the one that you just calculated, so it would be 61 plus 5 makes it 66. Or you imagine that you will have another class which would start with 67, since 62 plus the 5 makes it 67, so its one lower will be 66. Now you have all the lower limits and upper limits. Now we just need to find out what are going to be our frequencies. Now for the frequencies, what I would do is I would go to StackCrunch, I would reorganize my numbers into order, and I would start counting how many numbers do I have between 27 and 31. Now it's going to be 4 because that is 27, that is 29, that is 30, and there should be another. Of course, it's hard to see it now. Here's another one, 28. So I will have the first frequency 4, and you could go down, pretty much just count how many numbers do you have between 32 and 36, and that should be 6. Any question on number 1 before I would check what else you have been asked? There have been actually 2 other questions, but I don't want to do those yet until I make sure that everybody is happy with number 1. Are we happy with number 1? And hopefully by now StackCrunch is working. So let's no. All right, anyhow, very good. So let me go back to your StackCrunch is still not working on Safari. Yeah, it's not working. StackCrunch is not working on my end either. However, though, let's just keep finding questions that does not require StackCrunch. We do as much as we can. So somebody asked me to explain 19 and 20. Let me go back to the practice exam and then find number 19 and 20. And one more time, if you don't have a copy of this practice final exam, ask your instructor. They should be able to give you one. And then I don't know what so okay, all right, very good. So 19 and 20. There you go. Now, what do we have? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll a die that has 6 sides, and then we're going to find out what is the probability that the number that we're gonna see is going to be less than 5. Now let's see what kind of options am I going to see once I roll that die. I can see the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, number 4, number 5, or number 6. They asking me what is the possibility if I will see a number that is less than 5. So what numbers are good um, for me? For this requirement, 1 is gonna work, 2 would work, 3 would work, and 4 would work because all these numbers are smaller than 5. Now, generally speaking, when we're talking about probability, we always say that the probability is going to be the frequency divided by the total. Now, what is the total of outcomes? Let me just have it on the side. So frequency divided by the total. What is the number of total outcomes that I can have? I can have 6 different outcomes. How many desired outcomes out there? There are actually 4 because the number 1, the number 2, number 3, and number 4 would work, which means I have 4 out of 6. If I simplify that, the answer is going to be 2/3, which means the answer is going to be A. Now let's see number 20. Now I have to be honest, number 20 is usually what I teach in the classrooms. Not likely that it's gonna be on the final, but I would love to, of course, explain it to you. We don't necessarily need to teach odd against. I just like to teach because I think it's a fun question. So if we're talking about odds against, is going to be the desired frequency over the everything that is not good for us. How to get that straight? Hold on. Let's see that how many outcomes are possible if you're talking about if you're talking about having 6 answers on a multiple choice question. At that time, excuse me, at that time, if I have 6 possible answers, then I can choose any of these 6 answers. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. So any of these could be chosen. However, though, only one is the correct one. So let's say that B is going to be the correct one, but I don't know. I'm just going to guess, right? Um, so all 5 are going to be not correct. So I have 5 that are not correct. And I have 1 that is correct. Odds against is going to be calculated as uh, the correct answer that is going to go to the bottom, and the not correct answers that's going to go to the top. So the against is going to be actually 5/1, which is going to be A. And then one more time, this is not likely to be on the final. Odds against is not requirement. So I'm just usually teaching this as a fun question, but don't worry about it. It's most likely not will be on the final exam. So, so somebody was asking what is the difference between with replacement and without replacement. Actually, that's a really good question. So let me just go to the one. I have a question on that practice exam that asking us to calculate that. So let me go to number 24, and that is going to ask actually to show what is the difference between the odd, with or without replacement. Here you go. So I'm going to do number 24, and I'm going to actually solve it in two ways. However, they only asking us to do it with replacement, but I want to do it without replacement. So what we have a table that has some categories. We have men and women, we have non-smokers, light smokers, and heavy smokers. What they asking is, let's pick two of these categories, and then in a way that we're going to do it without replacement, um, and then both are heavy smokers. Now let's pick the first person. So how can I pick the first person, or what is the probability that if I pick one person that is gonna be heavy smoker? Now, as we said before, it's frequency divided by the total. The total is 948. So that's going to go to the bottom. And then the frequency that I will pick one that it's a heavy smoker is the total of the heavy smokers, 81. So picking the first person is kind of easy. However, though, picking the second person is going to be more complicated because now we're going to do it this time without replacement. So pretty much what that means is we have a huge area, and in that huge area I have 948 guys. Only 81 of them are heavy smokers. So I will pick a person and he's going to admit it. Yes, I'm a heavy smoker. So I tell the guy that, okay, thank you for saying that. And I will send him in the corner. He is out of the total of the 948 guys. And then he's out of that 81 that is a heavy smoker. Now, I do this because I will do this without replacement. So he comes to the board, he comes to the desk, and I say to him, okay, now go on the side. If I send him to the side, then the total is going to be one less compared to what I had before. So the total is going to be just 947. Remember why? Because I'm going to do this without replacement. He came to my board and I told him, okay, thanks. Thanks for admitting that you're a heavy smoker. Now go on the side. So I will have one less. However, though, if he's going to go on the side, I only will have 80 heavy smokers because he's out of the picture. Now, since I have to pick two guys, the first one, the probability of the first one is a heavy smoker, 81 over 948. The second one is 80 over 947. Now you're going to take these two numbers and you're going to multiply these two numbers. Generally speaking, on the final, if that would be on the final, you have to grab the calculator, and I think you have to round it to the like 3 decimal places. I think that's the generally what we're asking you to do. So you're going to run this to 3 decimal places, and you should get actually my key will round it to like 6. So you should get 0.007218. Now, before we would move on, let's talk about what if I would say with replacement. So we're going to do the whole entire process, but we're going to do it, and I'm going to do that on the left side with blue. So we're going to do it with replacement. So the first person, so forget about what we just said. Let's restart the whole thing. Picking the first person who is a heavy smoker, still 81 over 948. So 81 over 948. Let's pick the second person who is a heavy smoker, but this time with replacement. So what does it mean that this time is gonna be with replacement? So this heavy smoker guy comes to the whiteboard. He's gonna say that yes, I'm a heavy smoker, and we're gonna tell him thank you for the information. Now go back to the whole entire group. So he goes back. That means nothing is going to change. I still have 948 guys. I still have 81 heavy smokers. So if I have to pick a person who from that group, the probability that he's going to be a heavy smoker is still 81 over 948. So that is the difference between with replacement or without replacement. With replacement, he goes back to the group. Nothing is changing. However, without replacement, he's gonna leave the group, he's gonna go outside of that classroom. So all the numerator and the denominator is gonna be one less. Finding the probability um, of the finding the answer, you're going to take the 81 over 948 and multiply it with the 81 over 948 and then round your answer as the final exam is asking you to round your answer. So did that help? Let me just go to the chat box and then see. I hope that helped. Are we okay with 24 and the with replacement and without replacement? Do I need to go back or are we fine with that? Okay, very good. So let me just go through real quick if there are other questions. Um, Now, since there are multiple students in this session, it's hard to answer the following questions. So somebody asked if the final exam is going to be paper or pencil or is it going to be online. Now in my classrooms, it's going to be online. It's going to be presented in my MATLAB. However, that is exactly the same final exam that you would get in a classroom. If you would take your class in a face-to-face setting, your teacher is going to give you a paper pencil final exam. And as I said, 10 multiple choice, 5 open-ended. Anything else that you would like to ask? And as I have seen, somebody said that StackCrunch is back. Let me see, not mine. Let me click on it one more time. Maybe it's going to work this time. Yes, very good. So StackCrunch is back. When to use ZStat and TStat. And then somebody I think was asking me if that person could get a copy of that practice exam. Absolutely. What I need you to do is if you are not in my classroom, then you need to go to your instructor and ask your instructor if he could send you a PDF of this practice exam. I made sure that all the instructors who are teaching statistics, they have a copy of this practice exam. So absolutely, you're welcome to have a copy. You can email me and then let me show you my email address. So you can email me if you wish. And my email address is, let me have a red color going on. So my email address is agoccsa@seminolestate.edu. Seminole State. So it would be agoccsa@seminolestate.edu. So you can email me or you can ask your own instructor to have a copy of this practice exam. Uh, just 1 second, I'm reading the comments. So give me 1 second, let me read the comments. Uh-huh. So the question was that I almost forgot to answer that one. When to use Z-stat or T-stat? Let me go to the end of this practice exam and try to find something where it's going to be kind of easy to show where to use Z or T. I think it's fairly simple to see when we're using proportion, right? So pretty much at the end, when we started doing hypothesis test or confidence interval, we had three options to choose in between. The three options are, if you go to StatCrunch, you're going to go to stat, and you can click on proportion, hold on. I think I have more than I should. So proportion, we could have Z-stat, and we could have T-stat. Now here's what I say always. You're going to do proportion if you see either percent or proportion in the story. So for example, in number 39, I see a symbol of percent, or if I would see the word proportion, I'm going to do proportion. Now for Z-stat and T-stat, I need to see the word mean. If I see the word mean, then I'm kind of like, okay, that must be Z or T stat. So, for example, number 40, I'm seeing the word mean. So I'm thinking about, yeah, I need to go either Z stat or T stat. But what is the difference in between the two? So if we have the row, the population standard deviation given. So if you have the row, the population standard deviation given, you're going to do Z stat. In, for example, number 40, they say that you're assuming that the row is. So they say that the population standard deviation is. At that time, you know that you're going to use Z-stat. However, though, if they are not giving you the population standard deviation, at that time, they will give you the S, the sample standard deviation. At that time, you're going to do T-stat. So if the S, the sample standard deviation is given, you're going to do T-stat. I need to go back to the practice exam, and I need to find another page so I can show you somewhere a T-stat. So give me 1 second. I'm looking for a T-stat for you. Here you go. So for example, number 46. You read the story and you're going to find some information that is useful for us. So literally just circle the keywords, I always say. And then they say that we have some sort of sample. And for that some sort of sample, we will know that the sample standard deviation is, the little s is. Now, since I see that it's a sample standard deviation, I know I will use t-stat. Did I give you the hint how to find, how to figure out is it Z or T? Okay. And then I'm just reading the comments in between. So I did see some questions regarding to number 5. For question number 5 are these 3 different questions. Let me see. I don't remember. What is question number 5? Question number 5. No, no, no. Good question. Okay, let me explain number 5. Thank you for asking. That was actually an excellent question. So what is going on with number 5? So actually what's happening is we have two stem plot given, a stem and leaf graph given, and then what's happening is they are giving you options and you would like to figure out that what is true. So the first option says that there were 10 families in the study. Now let's see how many families are in option A or how many families in option B. If you count the numbers, then you will see that I will have 11 families in A. How do I know that? If you start counting how many numbers you have in the second column, pretty much. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that means originally I had 11 numbers before I created this stem and leaf. Now, how many numbers in the option B? I have 10 numbers in option B. So that means they have used 10 families for the B stem and leaf. So number one is only good with, so only okay for B. Let's see the second statement. The second statement said that the distribution of both statements are bell-shaped. Now, if you take a look at the option A, stem and leaf, yes, it's a bell shape. However, though, option B is not a bell shape. So actually, statement 2 is not true. It's false. Now let's see statement 3. It says that graph B has a potential outlier. And it is true because graph B has this 65, which look like an outlier. So that is okay for B. Now, there are 4 answers, and we have to pick an answer that is going to be good for us. Now, answer A says only A is okay. That is not true because option 3 was okay for B as well. So A is not working. Now, let's see B. B says, uh, hold on. So B says only number 3 is okay. And huh, I see that I have a mistake in this. Do I? Hmm. It looks like to me that I have a mistake in this key. Am I correct? Because number 1 is okay for B. Oh, I see. Hold on just 1 second. So let me explain it. Um, Sorry, I had to reread it. So pretty much, um, answer A said in the study being 10 families, and for number A we had 11 families, but for option B we had 10 families. So pretty much the first answer, it's only okay for B but not for both. So for the option A, the answer number 1 is false. So pretty much this sentence is false in a sense that it's not working for the A stem and leaf. So I actually even need to get rid of this statement that I have said. It was okay for B, but it was not okay for A. So because they talking about both stem and leaf should have 10 families, but A had 11 families, so that's not working. So number 1 statement is not working either. So that's why C is not a correct answer. And because number 2 was false, number 3 is okay, but D said both 2 and number 3 should be good, so that's not working either. So the only answer that is correct is going to be B like boy. I hope I did not confuse you. So I'm going to give you like a minute or so. And I go through this if needed to be go through. Maybe I should. Let me redo it. Hopefully, if I go through one more time, that's going to help us. Uh, so one more time. Should I go through number 5 one more time? Or are you guys happy with that? Excuse me. Uh-huh. Okay, so you guys understood it. Very good. All right, so the next question was then 28. Yes. Um, so let me find number 20. Was it 28? Yes, 28. Okay. So I need to go to number 28. Just one second. Uh-huh. Here you go. Now, here's another keyword that I want to share with you. The best way to go with this final exam, read the questions a few times and trying to find what is going to be the keyword that you can work with. So I will start circling the keywords that say something to me. Number 28 says, suppose that 11% of people are left-handed. If 8 people are selected at random, what is the probability that exactly 2 of them are left-handed? Now, actually, the keyword to me that I'm seeing a percent given. And I know that when we're talking about probability, and I know that in the same time I'm talking about percent, so with probability and then percent, in our level, it's always going to be binomial probability. So if it's binomial probability, you're going to go to StackCrunch. There is a formula that you could use, but I would definitely suggest you to use StackCrunch. That's a lot easier. So you're going to go to StackCrunch and you're going to do stat, calculators, and binomial. And then when you do that, you have to give the n, the total. You will have to give the little p, the probability of success, and you have to give some sort of x value. Now the n, the total in this story is going to be 8. The probability of success is 11%. So 11%, if we're going to change that to decimal, is going to be 0.11. So the little p is going to be 0.11. And then x is going to be 2. But actually it matters that what is the word in between the two. Now this time because it says exactly, that's why x is going to be equal to 2. But don't forget though, it could be greater than, it could be less than, it could be greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, depending on what is the word it be before of the two. So it could be at least 2, greater than 2, smaller than 2, at most 2. So make sure that you're going to check all of these words. So make sure that you're going to check the word at most, and you're going to check the word at least before the final. You need to know what does it mean that you see at most or at least. It could be on the final. So we're going to go to StackCrunch, and hopefully StackCrunch is working. And we're going to click on Set, Calculators, and Binomial. And as we said, n is going to be 8. The little p, probability of success, is going to be 0.11. X is going to be 2. And this time we're going to go with equal to. And our probability is going to be 0.1683. And then always round it as the final exam will ask you to round it. Maybe it's going to ask you to round it to 3, 4, 5. So round it as the instructor says. Instruction says, I'm sorry. Are we happy with 28? Let me just go back to, here you go. Are we happy with number 28? Any other question regarding to 28 or anything else? So far, you guys had really good questions. So I'm really happy that you guys joined the session. Um, as I said, you guys had good questions so far. So keep going with the questions. I think somebody asked me something else. So while you guys are thinking about on other questions, yeah, somebody asked me how to save the show your work in the um, in my stat lab. Nah, I don't know how to show that one. So I have a video. So if you are in my class, Audrey, I think you are in my class. I don't know. I don't remember. There are so many students. So please don't be mad at me if I don't remember your name. So if you are in my class and you don't know how to save the show your work, I do have a video on it. So just send me a private email through Canvas, and I would love to send you that. Mm, we'd love to send you that video. But keep that in your mind. If nothing else works, then just do the work in a Word document, save it as a screenshot, and then try to attach it as a screenshot into the Show Your Work box. And if nothing else works, and even that doesn't work, just print it. Just tell the testing center to print the Show Your Work for you. And I'm pretty sure that they will. And then they will send the copy of your Show Your Work to me so I can grade it for you. Anything else that you guys would like to ask? Okay, so somebody said you guys can share things in the big box to everyone. So somebody said that save the show your work works really well if you add the snipping tool to the toolbar, then you can save it to the desktop. So the snipping tool, this is what I am actually using at the moment. So the snipping tool is if you click on start and you're just going to start typing that snipping tool, you can click on it. Can you see it? So you can click on the snipping tool and you can take literally a screenshot of what you're doing at the moment, and you can save it to your desktop and then attach it to the show your work. And somebody asked number 20. Did I do number 20 already? I don't remember. Let me check. So somebody asked number 20. Yeah, we did number 20. And I said about number 20 that don't worry about it. It's not going to be on the final. And then number 2. Have we done number 2? No, we didn't do number 2 yet. Um, so when we're talking about number 2, we need to create a histogram, and then pretty much they gave us the frequency table. So what I have done is on the x-axis I did find the classes, and I just used what they said, what are going to be the lower and the upper limit, and then I marked all of these, and then I did find what is the frequency. So the highest frequency was 10. So on the y-axis I did find 10, and then keep going for the next classes for between 3 and 5. The frequency is going to be 1. And I'm just reading the values for the y from the table, as well as I'm reading the values for the x. And x is going to be our first column, and then y is going to be the second column. So as I'm going through, the third bar is going to be 7 unit tall, and then the next bar is going to be still 7 units tall, and then 1 unit tall, and then 4 units tall. So literally I'm reading these values from the second column, and I just shaded the bars. Are we happy with that? And then somebody asked number 50. Give me just 1 second. I think I have to drink a little bit of water. And I'm gonna find number 50, and then we're gonna do number 50. Number 50. Number 50 is another good one. So you would think that everything is given, right? So if you take a look at number 50, everything is given. What are they asking? So they say that we have a regression equation, and then the regression equation is going to look like y is 11.7 plus 102x. They also say that there are 10 pairs of data that they've been using, and they have calculated the R, and the R is 0.863, and the Y mean, so the mean for the Y values is 80.1. And we have to do a prediction if the X value is going to be 77. Now, you would think that everything is given. What are they asking? How am I going to do this prediction? So our first idea would be, if we don't think too much of it, that we're just going to take this X value and plug it into the equation. So the regression equation is 11.7 and then plus 102x. So the first idea and the easiest, if we're just going to take this X value and then plug it in. However, though, we don't know. Can we just plug that in? That's easily. So generally speaking, I can use the regression line if the R is significant. So the R is significant. You're going to use the regression line. You're going to use the y equals to 11.7 plus 102x. However, though, if R is not significant, you're going to use the mean. So the y bar, which is 80.1. How do I know if R is significant or R is not significant? Now for that, you have to go to a table. And then I need to log into Canvas to find that table because I did not open it just yet. So let me go to Canvas for a second. If you're in my class, then I have posted the formula sheet. So you're going to need to scroll down a little bit and you're going to find that formula sheet. And we are going to look for the table A6. So look for table A6. And then they have said that, they have said that we are using 10 pairs. Now the problem is though that they did not say what is alpha. The only thing that I know that the n is, so the n is going to be 10 because they are using 10 pairs, but I don't know what is alpha. So I'm looking for what is going to be the critical value if n is 10 and I don't know what is alpha, right? So we're going to go back to the table real quick. And if you take a look at when n is 10, either the critical value is going to be 0.632 or 0.765. So let's use the bigger one. So 0.765. So our critical value is going to be 0.765. And purposely I was using the bigger one because they say if the absolute value of R is bigger than the critical value, then the R is significant. So on purpose, I have used the bigger one because the R is bigger than the bigger critical value, then R is significant. So what is R? R was given as 0.863. So R is 0.863. And the critical value, as we said, 0.765. The absolute value of R is definitely bigger than the critical value. So yes, the R is significant. If so, then for the prediction, we are going to use the regression line, which means you're going to take the given X value, which was 77. So you're going to take the given X value, which is 77, and you're going to plug it into the regression equation, which means you're going to calculate y equals to 11.7 plus 1.02 times 77. I took the given x value, plugged it into the regression equation. And then once you grab the calculator, you should get 90.2. Don't forget though, If R is not significant, just go with the mean, which is 80.1. So that was number 50. Was that okay? Few questions came in as I was talking. So I need to read them and I will start answering them. So quick question. The snipping tool, somebody was asking how to find the snipping tool. So you're gonna go to the left corner of the screen and then click on start, and literally in that search box start entering snipping tool. If I enter it, it's gonna pop up for me. I think it's going to pop up on your computer as well. I'm not sure what this question is asking. I think somebody was asking the question number 5, so I'm gonna go back to that one. And then somebody was asking number 50 regarding to StackCrunch. The only way that, as far as I know, the only way that you can do number 50 on the StackCrunch if you have the original data set. If you do have the original data set, then yes, you can do then yes, you can do the prediction. So the only way that you could do it if you would have the data set given. But since we don't have the data set given, we had to do this long way. How do you find the critical value? You can find the critical value if you go to this table. So you can use the formula sheet on the final exam. Here are the things that you can use on the final exam. You can use your calculator, any kind of calculator. You can use the formula sheet that it's in the textbook. If you don't have the textbook, but you have, of course, My MATLAB access code, then you can access the textbook and you can print the formula sheet. So absolutely you can use the formula sheet and you can use StackCrunch. And then one more time, I can see the critical value if I go to table, A like apple, A6. You need to know the number of ordered pairs. It was 10 in my scenario because they have said 10 pairs would be given. And then generally speaking, they will give you the alpha. Now, they did not give me alpha this time. So that's why I was going with the bigger one, which was if alpha would be 0.01, then my critical value would be 0.765. Yes, every instructor will, somebody asked if every professor will provide a formula sheet. Now, I would correct that sentence in a way that every professor will let you use the formula sheet that it's in the textbook. So if you did not buy the textbook, go to the ebook through My MATLAB and then print the formula sheet and then take it with you when you're taking the test. Now make sure that nothing extra written on that formula sheet, because if you have extra stuff on that formula sheet, most likely your instructor will take that formula sheet away. So if you just print it, nothing extra on it, they have to let you use that formula sheet. Um, Rob, I don't know who is your instructor, but I'm 100% sure that we can use the formula sheet. However, though, if you want to send me, what I would say is, I don't know who is your instructor. You want to say who is your instructor, Rob? Uh-huh. Okay. Um, I will I will do this regarding to the formula sheet because I'm 100% sure that we can use the formula sheet. So I will send an email to my dean and I will ask him if he could communicate that information with the instructors. Okay, so there are a few students who said that your instructor will not let you use the formula sheet. So I'm honestly 99% sure, 100% sure that we can use the formula sheet. But anyhow, I will definitely send an email to my dean, the dean of the mathematics department, and I will ask him. I will double check that this information is correct. And if so, I will make sure that he's going to send some information out to the instructors to make sure that you guys can use the formula sheet. Is that okay that way? And I'm just going to and then Rachel was asking if we don't have the alpha, then we're just gonna go with the bigger. Yes, I would definitely go with the bigger alpha if alpha is not given. And then one more time, the reason why I would go with the bigger alpha or the alpha that gives the bigger critical value, because the plan is, let me just use another color, just 1 second. So the plan is to prove it so the plan is to prove it that the absolute value of the R is going to be bigger than the critical value. And if so, then R is going to be significant. So we want to make sure that we're using the biggest critical value that's available. Because if the R is bigger than the biggest critical value, then R is going to be just big enough so the R is significant. So yes, I would use the bigger critical value that is available to that given n. Mhm. Now, if a student asked how we can find the e-textbook, so we're gonna go to, I'm not sure if I'm logged in, so give me just 1 second. Let me see if I am logged in. If we're gonna go to the My MATLAB, it should be on the left side. So I think this is what you guys are seeing as well. And then chapter contents. Can you guys see it on the left side? It's almost the last one. It's called chapter contents. If I click on that one, I can see all the chapters that I would like to see. And if I am not mistaken, Appendix A is the formula sheet that I am talking about. So let me just click on that one, and then if it's working, uh-huh, maybe not. I know the formula sheet is here somewhere. I don't know the page exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's here. Um, Tables. It's gonna be Appendix A. And this formula sheet could be taken with you. You can print it, and they should be able to let you use it. Mm. Here's the z-score table. You can take the z-score table with you as well. And then, so pretty much I'm just clicking on the upper, and I mean, below chapter 15, I'm trying to find the tables that you guys can take with you. I usually just print the formula sheet to my students, um, but it should be there somewhere. So one more time, what I was doing is, so what I was doing, I went to, so I went to the chapter contents, and I was trying to find maybe the index. Oh, additional tables and formulas. Hold on. So I went to chapter contents, and that's how I'm trying to find the formula sheet that you guys can take with you. No, that's not the one.
Anyhow, I don't want to keep clicking, but I'm pretty sure you guys can find it. So just go to chapter contents. Let me see if there are other questions. Uh, Page 49, is it? Okay, so somebody just sent me the, okay, page 29. Okay. No, no, what is it? 49. Okay, page 49. Uh-oh. Hmm? Oh no. Hmm. A-text. Okay. So it would be page 49, and on the top we can enter the number for the page. Uh-huh. Page 49. Here you go. It's not the one. No. Audrey was trying to help us to find the formula sheet, but no. Page 49 is not the one, or at least it's not for me. Anyhow, is there anything else that I can help you with? Help you with? Is there are there any other questions? Now let me go back to the practice exam. Here you go. Ours is, so my students are talking about where is our formula sheet. It's in homepage modules. Keep going down, keep scrolling down, and it's in the middle somewhere. So number 6. So practice exam number 6. Number 6. Uh-huh. Now, here's what I would do with number 6. I would definitely use stack runs because it's a lot easier that way. So what we're looking for is we're looking for the mean if a frequency distribution table is given. So what I will do, I will try to open stack run, so I will have multiple things open, um, and I can copy my values, given values real quick. My stack run is still working. Isn't that crazy? Oh, is stack run gone? Is not stack run is not working now? Okay. Now here's what you're gonna do with number 6. Um, Enter all the numbers that are given. So I will have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 in the first column, and I will have 0.14, 0.05, 0.36, 0.35, 0.10 in the second column, and I'm going to go to Stat, Calculators, and then Custom. So one more time, Stat, Calculators, and Custom. First one is the first column, second one is the second column, and just click on Compute. And I am getting 9.66 as an answer. Is that what they got? Uh-huh. So the answer is going to be B, 9.66. So when a frequency distribution table is given, go to stack runs, stat, calculators, and then stat, calculators, and then custom. And I am getting the mean, the B, 9.66 as it was given. Is there anything else that you would like to ask? Somebody was asking number 2, how can I do that in StackCrunch? Number 2 in StackCrunch. I must be honest, I don't remember. Because the only way that I know, if I would have the whole data set given, if I would have the whole data set given, then I would go to stat, hold on, graphs, and then histogram. If I would have the whole data set given, I would go to stat and histogram. However, though, since not the whole data set is given, I only can do it manually. I'm not saying that there are no ways to do it in StackCrunch. I just don't know or don't remember how to do it on StackCrunch if only a frequency distribution table is given. So sorry, I don't know who was asking. I forgot your name. So sorry, but I don't know how to do um, number two in StackCrunch. Are there any other questions? Uh-huh. As I said, Rachel, I think Rachel is the one who asked number two. I don't know how to do that in StackCrunch. I can only do it manually. Sorry about it. I'm sorry. So number 46 then. hmm Um, I'm glad you guys asked this. And I'd like to show you another trick before we're gonna end up the session soon because there is something that good to know on the final. So when we're talking about test three or the last test that you guys are taking before the final exam, um, there are two things that we make you guys doing. We make you guys doing the confidence interval and we make you guys doing the hypothesis test. Now, doing the confidence interval is kind of obvious because when you read the story, somewhere they say that construct a 95% confidence interval, right? So it's kind of obvious that I'm going to do a confidence interval. But how do I know if they asking me to do a hypothesis test? So I think the easiest way to decide if they're gonna make me to do a hypothesis test, and let me just go back to the practice exam for a second. So I think the easiest way to decide if they say something like test the claim, if they say something like test the claim, or they will give me alpha, the significance level, they want me to do the hypothesis test. And don't worry, don't forget, I'm sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. So don't forget the hypothesis test has 5 steps. If you miss any of those steps, you're going to lose bunch of points. Now, for 46, we are going to do t-stat because the little s, the sample standard deviation is given. So you're going to go to StackRunch and you're going to go to t-stat. And since there are 2 sets of data given, so here's the first set, here's the second set, we're going to do t-stat 2 samples with summary. And then you're going to go ahead and then enter as everything as it was given. So everything is given. You're just going to enter these, and don't forget we're going to do a 95% confidence interval. Oops. So I'm just going to go to StackCrunch real quick. Oops. Or at least I'm trying. Here you go. So we're going to go to StackCrunch, and then I will enter everything that I know. So I'm going to hit stat, t-stat, 2 samples, 2 samples with summary. And then start entering as everything that you know. 72.3 is the mean, and the sample standard deviation is 10.9, and n is 16. For the second one, you're going to say 68.1 for the mean, standard deviation is 8.2, and then 12 is the sample size, and then we're going to do a confidence interval, 95% is the level, and then click on compute. So your lower limit is going to be negative 3.21 and the upper limit is 11.61. For the interpretation, if you would have to say an interpretation, then you would say that because um, the lower limit is negative, the upper limit is positive, so there are negative and positive numbers in the interval, you cannot conclude anything. So your interpretation would be with 95% level of confidence. Since the interval has positive and negative numbers, you cannot conclude anything. In this case, um, it does not ask us to do the interpretation. We'll see if the final exam will ask us, or you can say it as because the interval contains the zero. That's exactly the same. Yeah, you can also say it that way as well. Yes. Now I have like 1 more minute or so. Let me see what else is there. I mean, what other questions are there? Number 11. So let me see number 11 before I would say goodbye to you guys. And there are a few things, few household items that we need to talk about. So if you are in my classroom, you can see the practice final exam with the key in Canvas homepage. If you are not in my classroom and you don't have your this practice exam, just ask your instructor to give it to you. They should have a copy of this. Number two is I need to ask my boss regarding to the formula sheet. So I will send an email to my boss tonight, and hopefully he's going to do his part soon. And then so number 11 before I would say goodbye to you guys. It's really similar to the one that we just did. You're going to go to, because you're looking for the mean, you're going to go to stat, calculators, and then custom. And then you're going to enter the numbers. However, though, I need to find the midpoint of all of those classes. So the first number that I'm going to enter will be calculated as lower limit plus the upper limit divided by 2, which is 50 plus 59. It's hard to see the pink, divided by 2, which will be 54.5. And then the next number will be calculated as lower limit plus the upper limit, 69, and divide by 2. And then that is going to be 64 and a half. And this is what you're going to enter. So you're going to enter 54 and a half, 64 and a half, 74 and a half, 84 and a half, and then 94 and a half, 94 and a half in the first column. And the second column is going to be 13, 6, 7, 7, 7. And you're going to go to stat, calculators, and then custom. First is first, second is second, and you should get 71.8 as an answer. And so hopefully you guys can do that in StackCrunch. And then I think we run out of time. Um, and so is there any other question before I would say goodbye? So hopefully this session was helpful. I know there are a bunch of sessions are going to be offered face to face in Altamont and at Sanford Lake Mary as well. Hopefully you guys can attend on those as well. Final is not easy. However, I think it's manageable as long as you go through the practice exam. I don't think that there are other online review sessions. You're very welcome. And then the face-to-face one, depending on if you are in my class or other instructor classes, go to your instructor and then ask your instructor to send you the location of the other sessions. So if you are in my classroom, just send me an email and I will be glad to send you the location for the face-to-face sessions. All right, so it was good to have you guys in my session. Good luck. So go through the practice final. If you go through the practice, if you understand everything on that practice, I'm 100% sure that you will do fantastic on the actual test. So good luck, and I will talk to you later.